Hey guys, Mr. McVicker back here again. So today we are going to get to talk a little bit about goal setting. Now this kind of is going to build on what you've done in the past, and we're going to get into that. And as you can see from the title, we're going to be talking about it using elephant toothpaste. Now if you haven't done this before, this is like the way I like to describe it is taking the classic baking soda and vinegar and upping it one level, because the foam that gets produced from this is a lot less runny, is a lot more firm of a type of foam. You use soap in there to make a little bit different reaction. You still got an oxygen molecule going off of the hydrogen peroxide, but we're going to get into that in a little bit. So the first thing that happens for starting a goal is you got to write it down, like you see me doing right here. I made a plan. I had a goal to make this video to present the idea of goal setting to you. How do you go from one point here to the next point? So as I'm writing down my goals, like I'm writing down what shots that I would like to take with the camera, what types of things do I want to say, where do I get my materials, all those things came together to make this video. Me sitting right here talking to you. Not anything crazy dynamic. By the way, if you watched my self-efficacy video, I have got a couple of fun things that I talked about. I've got a cool microphone. Thank you, School of Rock, for letting me borrow that, since we do not have that major unit right now. So we have options and things that have happened. I'm setting goals and I'm trying to achieve them. Let's jump on into the experiment. And you see me here going through collecting all the items. Definitely a good first thing that has to happen. You have to have your supplies. And now we're moving. Let me jump ahead. I am now getting to the experiment. So for this experiment, you need hydrogen peroxide, yeast, and soap at the most basic level. We're going to up it a little bit, so we're going to do hydrogen peroxide 12%, not the 3% you get at the store, but hydrogen peroxide at 12%, and potassium iodide, which you have to order from a lab to get the reaction that we're going to get. And we have beakers, and we have flasks, and we have hot water, and we are making this all work. So let's check this out. We're getting into the experiments. We are doing this. This is happening. So in the first experiment, you're just going to see a picture of hydrogen peroxide sitting there. Just some nice H2O2 chilling out, and you can't see it, but it's changing. That H2O2, that last O2 there at the end, one of those oxygen molecules is leaving, and there's some water getting left behind. You can't see it, but it's happening. That's like you. That's like me. If we go through life and just let life happen to us, we're gonna change. Like it happens. We have forces that act on us in different ways, and there's changes that happen. We think we become somebody new every moment, and this lesson's about what direction do you want that to go, because otherwise you're going to sit here like this hydrogen peroxide and not make much of a change. Now in the next experiment, if we go here and look at the next one, you're going to see H2O2 with a little bit of yeast added to it, and you're going to see a bubble right there, bubbling. Well, not going anywhere real fast, is it? It's changing. Like, look, there's a reaction. There's that oxygen molecule getting released, but there isn't much motion out of it, moving away from that space that it's in. And that's like you when you've been presented with a goal. You've been told to achieve something. Like in school, there's so many students, you guys included, that are just like, hey, I'm working to get that A, or I'm working to be able to play on a sports team. And you're working on those things because this goal's been set in front of you, and you're just kind of achieving that goal, but it hasn't been internalized yet. That's where we're going to go next. So what you get to see is the yeast, hydrogen peroxide, and we're adding in soap. So this is like the goals have been put in front of you, and you are starting to act on them in your own short-term motivated goals. So let's watch this. Reaction, and you see it happening. You see the bubbles coming up. That soap has captured the change happening in the hydrogen peroxide. Those oxygen molecules are trapped inside these bubbles, and they're building on each other to overflow the flask. Now that's cool. That's like you making little short-term goals that build on each other and they overflow. And you can see it's like expanding. It made a little bit of a mess, but in this case, in the way we're doing this analogy, it's a very good mess. You're expanding yourself. You are building on your own other short-term goals to make yourself into something new. Now let's take it up a little bit. You can use hydrogen peroxide at 3%. You could use yeast, and you get the reaction. It loses a oxygen molecule. But when you take hydrogen peroxide, and it is not just the 3% stuff, but you go and you buy it at a higher concentration, which is dangerous, and which is why I wear gloves when dealing with this one, you can get a better reaction. When you make fertile soil for what you have to come, the goals you're setting, something more comes out of it, as you're about to see. And instead of just using yeast, we actually use potassium iodide, which you gotta buy from a lab. Whenever you have two things that are ingredients that are setting you up for success, fertile ground, so that when they're combined, they can do more, then you get this reaction. Now, there's a lot of bubbling happening here, and it is hot. Actually, this is an exothermic reaction, means it releases heat. And that heat, touching it, that jar was hot whenever I grabbed that to clean that up. So, this is like you are acting on your goals. You are like having a vision for the future. Like you've got some fertile soil, but you need that next level thing. And this is where we come to our final formula. Let's watch this big one. Hydrogen peroxide at a high concentration with potassium iodide and soap, and we get this. Now that's cool, and it keeps growing, and it keeps adding, and it's got shape to it. This is like whenever you take your life and you have made fertile soil, like realizing that now as you're a younger person, that if you do things that might not seem cool to your friends, but you're gonna set yourself up for success later in life, you're gonna be able to do a lot more down the road by having that hydrogen peroxide in your life that's at 12% instead of 3%. By adding in that hydrogen or the potassium iodide of positive smart goals, like making good smart goals. And then that soap, that is the short-term and long-term goals. Whenever you combine that long-term goals with short-term goals that are meant to make the long-term goals happen, you get this. And now I poured all the rest of my ingredients into one container to try to have one really big reaction for you. And unfortunately, this is what I got. The video didn't upload. It, whatever the file format wasn't recognized, so I don't get to show you my really cool reaction, but you can look at that foam there, a little still picture of just how much was made from that same 500 milliliter flask. That big of an expansion. So what are you doing to set your goals in your life? What are you doing to prepare yourself for the future? And are you looking, like we talked about last week, that self-efficacy, that belief in your future, not last week, but when we talked about it, that belief in your future self, are you doing the short-term goals now, living in the present, in order to achieve that in the future? Looking forward to seeing you guys keep expanding your lives. Looking forward to you growing as we just go through wings, as you go into high school, and I hope you come back and talk to us teachers and we see that just expansion from that little thing. Guys, it was like 100 milliliters of hydrogen peroxide with 10 grams of potassium iodide added to it. And it expanded that much, this little, to this much. What are you going to do with your life? See ya.